Good evening, YouTube. Who's your piper, aka Mark, coming at you. It's Wednesday evening, midweek. Sitting underneath the grape arbor again. It's a pretty mild day today, up in the mid to upper 70s. Pretty nice breeze blowing today. Savinelli Trevi 320. In it I am smoking some Firedance Flake, Samuel Gawith. I cracked that tin open today. This is my third bowl, and I like it. It's very unique. The fruity smell almost reminds me of Stonehaven. Um, I don't have a lot of experience or a broad selection of tobaccos that I've tried to pull from, but that same tin note that I'm getting with Firedance is similar, not quite the same, but similar to Stonehaven. And the flavor is pretty good. I do get the initially I get the blackberry. Um, I don't really get much of the vanilla in this tin. I can smell it in the tin note. I don't get it in the flavor. Um, but then the flavoring starts to fade, and I'm just getting the Virginia after about a half a bowl or so. Now this is the first briar that I smoked that in. The other two bowls were in Missouri Meerschaum Cobb. So our grapes are doing really well. I don't know if I can bring that down far enough for you to see it. I really can't. The grapes are the majority of them are bigger than peas right now. Everything's still green. These grapes are Concord grapes, so they'll turn purple. And we use them, we eat them just right off the vines. We'll use them mainly in juice. We store grape juice long term. And then I've even made a grape pie, which is lots of work, but it's really delicious. But generally we just use these for juice. I noticed in my cobs that if I smoke a little quickly, the pipe with this tobacco in it really gets hot. I can start to feel this pipe get hot, so I need to slow down. When I'm driving, usually I'll have a pipe in the morning going to work. It's very absent-minded. It's just something I do, part of a ritual in the morning. My commute is over an hour, and so I don't pay much attention to my cadence or anything like that. But I need to kind of slow down here tonight and just enjoy it. It's a beautiful night. Sun's going down. It's probably about 7:30. Something that Beer Beard touched on, and just want to kind of give my thought on. Oh, we got June bugs. That was a leaf. I did have a June bug land on me earlier, so we gotta sprinkle some powder for that. Beard over the weekend touched on a topic as he was kind of relating how he grew up. I kind of wanted just to touch on it briefly. I call it my normal is normal until I learn of your normal. And what I mean by that is, and maybe you can relate to this, every child growing up thinks that their home, their family, their home life, um, their daily interaction with family members is normal. And it doesn't matter how difficult or how good a child has it, he just assumes, or she just assumes, that's what everybody's family is like. And I grew up in a challenging home. Um, my dad was a preacher and was also violent and was, I don't know how else to say it, but was abusive in the way that he dealt out punishment. And if I was investigating him, like I do numerous parents on a daily basis, I would substantiate charges against them. Or allegations, not charges. And I grew up thinking that everybody was treated that way. Now, I grew up in a generation where people were more apt to spank their kids. But I'm not talking about just spanking. I'm talking about getting hit and beat to the point of being bruised and swollen and even bleeding and seeing some horrendous things. And I thought everybody grew up that way. I thought everybody, that's just how you got punished. In the religious circle that we grew up in, everybody seemed to have that same mindset, that spare the rod, spoil the child mindset. And I talk about rods. My dad took that literally, and I would be spanked with a 1-inch dowel rod. I got spanked with 1x pieces of wood and all kinds of horrendous things. But I'll never forget, it wasn't even until it was past high school, it was in college where it really dawned on me that other people had normal childhoods, and my childhood was not the norm and should not be the norm. But I didn't know any different. I remember when I was younger, this was pre-internet, pre-911. You just didn't call 911 when you had an emergency. You had to call the police. And I remember seeing a commercial for child abuse hotline. And I remember I was going to get spanking for something, and I told my dad, I'm going to call this child abuse hotline. And my dad said, well, I'm going to give you something to talk about. And I never said that again in my life. But it was good for me to understand that my normal wasn't the norm. And now, having 5 kids, I've really striven to to ensure that my kids were always disciplined correctly, that they were treated correctly, that they were loved properly, and I want their normal to be the norm, you know, something that they can replicate later on. But anyways, just some thoughts that Beard sparked in my mind, and I was going to do a much longer video on it, and it's not worth dwelling on, but thought I'd share that. My dad and I reconciled years and years later. He's passed away now, but I learned a lot about what not to do, and a few things on what to do from my dad. So your normal may be the norm, it may not. Something to think about. Till next time, who's your piper?